you have a handout that needs to be glued in. I suggest you write on it first and then glue it in, but it's up to you. And you're probably going to have to write super small. It says find all three trig ratios for the given angles. So up at the top of your paper or somewhere on this page 65, I suggest you write your trig ratios, which are sum, SOHCAHTOA. When it comes to trig ratios, you will never find the trig ratio of the right angle. So for number 1, we will not use angle C. You cannot find the trig ratio of the right angle itself. So we're going to find sine of angle A, we're going to find cosine of angle A, and we are going to find tangent of angle A. So I'm going to label everything in this triangle based off of angle A. What you need to realize is no matter which angle you are using, your hypotenuse will never change. So right off the bat, across from your right angle, I draw a line, and that side that's numbered or not numbered is your hypotenuse. We're going to label the opposite and the adjacent based on angle A. From angle A, if you draw a line to the other side of the triangle, that's the opposite side. Adjacent means next to. So next to angle A, we have this side right here, this side right here. Well, this 10 is already labeled with your hypotenuse, so it cannot be your adjacent side. That means that 8 is your adjacent side. And all you do is you set up fractions. Sine is O over H. O is labeled 6, H is labeled 10. And then you reduce. 6 over 10 is the same thing as 3 over 5. Cosine is A over H. Well, the A goes with the 8. The H is still 10. So cosine of A before we reduce is 8/10. After we reduce, 4/5. For tangent of A, tan is O over A. Opposite is 6. Adjacent is 8. Reduce, and we get 3 over 4. So here's what we mean on the previous page where it says the opposite and the adjacent change depending on the angle being used. So I'm going to erase my red lines here. And I'm going to change colors. So let's go to, let's say, green. So we're going to now find sine of angle B, cosine of angle B, and tangent of angle B. Now we have to label everything based off of angle B. Well, your hypotenuse is never going to change. From angle B on the other side, and the opposite side, that's your next to angle B is your adjacent. Well, next to angle B, there's two sides. There's this one labeled 10 and this one labeled 6. Well, 10 is already your hypotenuse. That means that 6 is your adjacent. Sine is the opposite side of the angle over the hypotenuse. Opposite is labeled 8. Hypotenuse is 10. Gives me 4 over 5. Cosine. Adjacent over hypotenuse would be 6 over 10 because your adjacent was labeled 6. It gives me 3 over 5. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, which is 8 over 6. And reduce, and we get 3/4. One thing that you should notice before we move on is the sine of one angle matches the cosine of the other. So if you knew sine of one angle, you could know the cosine of the other. And the cosine of one angle gives you the sine of the other. And then if you notice, your tangent numbers are just flipped. But the big thing here, and you're going to want to write it down somewhere on this page at the bottom around the notebook paper, is the sine of one angle is the cosine of the other.